everybody, it's Christian from Triple C Man in Game. So for today's comic book of the day, we're going to break out a different series. We're breaking out Star Wars. Now, if you know Star Wars, there are tons and tons of different short series, 3-4 episodes, 40 episodes. I mean, you're talking with the Star Wars universe, the ideas and topics and the characters are endless, far ever reaching. You know, the movies and the TV shows and all the books that come into play. There is so much to talk about and so many characters that can be created, that can be intertwined with not only Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, just anybody that whether it's the Sith or you name it, right? And so it's pretty cool. So the book I read today was actually Star Wars #1 Thrawn. Okay, Thrawn #1, excuse me. So this book here came out in 2018. This story is the origin of Thrawn, the first appearance of LiQWYD. Now, if you're going to read this story, this is a 6-book part series. Thrawn is right here. You see Thrawn right here. He is an alien, by the way. So you read 1 through 6 of this book, then you turn around to read Star Wars #7 from 2015 to continue the story. And that's how these Star Wars books are like. So you read a few books here, you'll bounce from this series, you go to this next series, and that series, you go back to this series and go to this series, right? So sometimes when you're reading the Star Wars books, it's actually beneficial for you to get a guide so you know how the storyline flows. And honestly, you can just read about who you like. I am a big fan of Thrawn, really like Thrawn. I'm a huge fan of obviously the old school Anakin, those types of guys, right? But I would say that one of my big one is Dr. Aphra, right? And so I'll get into her series later on through a couple more episodes, but her books are pretty damn cool. So anyways, if you don't know a lot about Star Wars, I highly recommend just starting somewhere because it's so large. Maybe starting with the small series like Thrawn of 1 through 6 is really reasonably obtainable. Now, this series is relatively expensive considering how short the series is. So Thrawn 1, there's currently, so there's 4 variants of this specific book here, okay? This book in mint condition is about $20, maybe up to $30 if you really think about it, but could go as low as $8, okay? You see here, you'll see Thrawn. He is blue, he's an alien, and the cool thing about this here, you'll see he's got some stormtroopers back here, and you got some stuff in the back. So, on one of the planets they go to, I'm not gonna give you all the details. On one of the planets they go to, Thrawn actually crash lands there, and he's been there for a while. It doesn't specify how long, but been there for a while. And another, spacecraft comes in there, and there's a bunch of cadets and things on this craft. Well, Thrawn wants to get off this damn island, off this planet. So he ends up taking a stormtrooper suit, puts it on, and tries to stow away on the actual the Empire, essentially their craft, and went back up to space. While he's up in space, obviously he reveals who he is. They start talking about him, but they don't actually capture him. He's pretty quick-witted. There's some language barriers here, but he uses his best skill set to explain that he is essentially a warrior. Like, he is really good on the battlefield. So he meets up with Senator Palpatine. Right? If you know Senator Palpatine or Emperor Palpatine, right? He's kind of a douche. Okay, very powerful, one of the leaders of the dark side, right? But just know that he gets this deal with the senator to say, hey, I will become a lieutenant essentially in your army to assist you in the battle to come. But I just want my sidekick here, who's LiQWYD, who ends up being kind of like a partner in crime, his translator, as he goes through the story. And so once LiQWYD ends up graduating the cadet school and they both get assigned to the exact same ship, who was actually expected to go into battle. And that's where the story ends for the first book. Highly recommend you read this series. It just really discusses a little bit about why or who Thrawn is, where he comes from, about how a lot of the human non-humans don't really like aliens, and things that they do or will do to him to kind of ostracize him, essentially, okay? So for this series, like I said, you have 1 through 6. This one being about $20. Then you have Thrawn number 2, which is about $12. Thrawn 3 is the first appearance of, what is it? Arianda Price, a Moth of the First Galactic Empire. Then you've got Thrawn number 4, which is the origin of Thrawn, so more details in that one there. And then you have Thrawn number 5, continues with the origin of Thrawn, so it's more of a crossover book there, a continuation. And then number 6 is a $25 book, and this is the origin of Thrawn in a flashback, specifically when he was promoted to the Grand Admiral by Palpatine. So one thing you'll learn about Thrawn and the kind of alien he is once he puts his mind to something, they will accomplish it. If they don't accomplish it, they will die trying. And so his final goal that's identified in book number 1 is that he hopes to obtain the rank of Admiral one day. And so obviously book 6, he does get potentially promoted via flashback, obviously. It's also the first meeting of Darth Vader and Thrawn in the story. I'm not going to tell you anything about that connection, but there is a connection, and you do learn about it in book number 1. So if you're a big history buff or story buff when it comes to Darth Vader and how, you know, his history, you definitely got to read that first book. Again, book 6 is the first cameo appearance of Admiral Arlani, and for some reason, I mean, they always kind of do this here, but these short stories or these short series don't have a lot of copies. So for this series here, each book was about 30,000 books released, which makes the series more, I guess, sought after because it's not as, you know, wasn't as distributed around the country. So anyways, do you like Star Wars? Do you like Thrawn? Have you ever heard of Thrawn? Most people, when they think of Star Wars, just think about the movies, maybe, you know, some of the cartoon shows, right? But they don't really think about Thrawn. They don't think about some of these other intangible characters in the storyline that really are like these connecting pieces from how we, those of us that are like bigger Star Wars fans, really enjoy those connecting pieces, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm like the king in the crop when it comes to Star Wars stuff, but I'd say I'm about just above 50%, better than, I guess, more involved than most of the Americans out there, most people in the world. So, like I said again, I highly encourage you to take a look at this. You can just tell by this book, Thrawn looks badass, right? And just look at him. He's standing there, the stormtroopers on the bottom here, just looking at him. It's a pretty powerful statement, I think, this book does here. So let me know what you think. Are you interested in Star Wars? Have you ever read any books of Star Wars? If you have, who's your favorite character? That's what I want to know about. Anyways, this is my last video before I go to Korea. So I'm going to Korea for a week for a work trip. I'm going to try to put some videos out. I'm not going to have my comic book with me, unfortunately. So expect some different content. I might check out some Korean Pokemon cards and things out there, or just do a quick video as I walk around the local area when I'm that way. But I should be back somewhere around next weekend and kind of go from there and get back to more content as I go forward. But anyways,